Greetings and salutations, folks, and welcome once again, as always, to another helping of Mr. H's Hot Pot. You join me today on this rather sunny autumn October day in Formby in Merseyside, where I've come to take a look at this little brick structure at the back of me, which lies in the dunes around the Formby area. And it dates from the Second World War, and it's a Starfish command bunker. Now, during the Second World War, Operation Starfish was a top secret idea to try and fool the German bombers that was targeting our cities and our towns during the Blitz. And we're not too far away from Liverpool, and that's why this one was built. Now, it would consist of a command bunker, and then there would be pipes and there would be electronic gadgetry that would lead out to an installation that could mimic a town or city that was on fire and was ablaze. Because what they used to do, the Germans, they used to come in with the first wave of bombers. They used to drop incendiary devices, which hopefully from their point of view would hit the target, and then the second wave of bombers that would come with the high explosives, they would see the town or city lit up below them, and they knew where to drop the bombs. So the idea was to get those incendiary devices extinguished as quickly as possible by our lads, the ARP and firefighters, and then light up these decoy stations, which this is one of, and then hopefully the second wave of bombers would be fooled and they would believe that they was above the legitimate target and they would drop the bombs harmlessly on the decoy station. Bit of a suicide mission when you come to think of it, but that's what they did. There was a number of decoy stations. I think there was about 280 odd throughout the country during the Second World War at the height of the Blitz. And this one remains, or the command bunker remains, and we're going to be taking a look inside it in a moment. Sadly, it is heavily graffitied, you'll be able to see that, but it's good that it's still here because, to be honest, there's not really much to it, and it would be very easy to have demolished it after the Second World War. I've no idea why it's still here, but it is. Anyway, without further ado, let's whip the camera around and get inside and take a look around it, shall we? And here we are. They form like a T-shape from above. Now, I've no idea why there would be a big window in it, though. It doesn't make sense, really, because these was obviously prone to blast. Now, whether or not there was some kind of machinery or some kind of generator attached to that point, there is an opening there. You can just make it out through the grass there, just there. That would have had all kinds of wires and other things going in. So whether or not there would have been some big heavy piece of machinery attached to that opening, I don't know. If anybody knows what that opening would have been for, please let me know in the comments below. And as you can see, the graffiti is quite heavy. Now, it doesn't make sense to have an opening there as a window and then build a blast wall. That there in front of you is a blast wall. It would have been higher, and it was to protect this doorway here. It leads straight through and out to the back, but two rooms lead off at the end of this little corridor. Have to be a bit careful here because there is some sand bees. You can see that above you there would have been some kind of metal tubing that would have connected these two rooms. Set foot in here. I think this would have been the generator room. Once again, there's an opening there. And when you come to look at them, they don't appear to be windows. And the reason I don't think they're windows, you can't see the face of the bricks. You can actually see where the bricks have been scutched out. So I think there would have been something attached. Openings there to allow cables and things in. And this big one here. And all they are, they're just ceramic parts of the tarp that would have been used for drainage. can see where the concrete has started to deteriorate there and fall through, and you can just make out. Just try and get a better thing of it. No, I can't. You can just make out the reinforcing. That, I believe, would have been the generator room, and this one is where operations would have happened. The reason I think that, there's a little opening there, which would have probably had one of those little puffing billy tarp fires in there. The style that you would see in a railwayman's hut. That's the nearest I can describe it. Ventilation openings. And again, you would have had your cables coming. This would have been an escape hatch in the day. If for whatever reason, people who was in here manning it, if that doorway had have got blocked there, or the other one, they could have had made their escape through that hatch there onto the roof and then down the sides, which would have been banked up with either sand in this case because we're in the dunes, or soil. And then this is the back of this bunker. Not a lot to it. Back in the day, this would have all been top secret. And you can just see that the walls there are quite substantial. They're about 2 feet thick. So they would have taken quite a blast. And if we make our way around this side and through these trees, you can see where all the generators and that would have been and gone through. And just make that opening out there in between those 2 tree branches there. I'll just duck under here. And obviously that steel hoop, that would have supported something back in the day. It's amazing that this is still here. It really is. And that's through to the front opening where we were. I'll just make my way back through. Now, because this was all top secret, very few photographs of what these installations look like and how they operated exists. But I have managed to get a photograph offline of what one would have looked like, an old black and white photograph. I'll put that in for you now. And my guess is that it would have led out, and you can imagine that old black and white photograph, roughly where I'm pointing now, it would have been over there in the distance, heading towards what is known as Cabin Hill on Altcar Ranges. I think that's where it would have been located in the fields. And should they have got the word, they would have quickly switched everything on, and it would have looked like an inferno in these fields, and the Germans would have thought, aye aye, that's where we need to drop our payload. Now what you've got to remember as well is that during the Second World War there was no such thing as precision bombing. So if you dropped your bombs as a bomber within 5 miles of the target, it was classed as a hit. It was seen as a success. So it wouldn't be too far from, it wouldn't look odd from the bomber's perspective that the incendiaries were slightly off target. They wouldn't think that. And then here we are again, back where we started the video from. And it's a lovely little piece of history, this. It's just a shame it's got so heavily graffitied, but you don't usually see these in such good condition. So it's amazing that this one is pretty much intact. There's a little bit of a concrete hard stand at the side of this. No idea what that's for, whether or not there would have been a toilet in there of some description, or it was just for storage, who knows. But I'll try and get up on the top of it and we'll see how that concrete's fared over the years. I'm getting a bit too old for this, hot potters. And here we are, up on the roof. And to be fair, this concrete has held up pretty well. To say that these things was hastily thrown up during the Second World War, the Germans, of course, had been planning what they were going to do. And there's that damaged bit of the roof from up above. You could just make out a bit of a channel there that would act as a gutter to take any water. And obviously that little bit there in the middle of your screen, that's where the drain pipe would have been. This is what the escape hatch would have looked like from above. It appears there would have been a bit of a blast wall there, or a wall to stop you falling over the edge. That's since been removed. And this opening here, no doubt that's the corner of that room below, and it would have been where the little chimney from the stove would have come through. And it looks like it was blocked with a bit of a slate at some point, and then some sticky stuff put underneath it to block it off. So maybe this was used as something else after the war. As I say, we are close to Altcar training camp, so it may have been utilised for something else after the end of the Second World War. This is what it looks like above the entrance, and you can see that blast wall below me. Yeah, it's held up pretty well, and if ever you're in the Formby area, I suggest you come over and check it out. It's not too far away from a school. Right, hot potters, I'm going to carefully make my way down there. I'm getting too old for climbing up on things like this. I'll get down, we'll whip the camera around and wrap this video up, I think. So folks, that'll just about do it for today. I hope you've enjoyed today's video, taking a look at this old relic from World War II. It's hard to imagine that this was once a top secret bunker, and only the top brass and the people in the know would have known about it. Now it just lies abandoned and silent amongst the sand dunes of Formby in Merseyside. Anyway, I'm going to head off now to the old jalopy and head back to the old homestead to edit up all this footage ready for your edification as always. So all that's left for me to say is, until the next time, bye bye for now.